Howdy pards, MrHolster here. Just giving you a brief channel update, and I've given this a lot of thought over the night on what to do. I'm going to start off by saying I made a video last night. Jack wasn't here, and I decided I'd make a sock show without him. And I was going to put it on my front page of my Patreon account. And I know I was going to wait till Jack got back to do the first one next week, but I decided to do it because I had some bad news yesterday. And I thought about it over the night to talk about it or not, because it's kind of personal, and on the other hand, it's not the worst news in the world, but it might be. You don't know. And, do you really need to let everybody you don't even know? A lot of you guys I kind of know a lot, well, over the last few years. And I decided that I was going to talk about this because this is the way I've always been. I've never run around and talked behind people's backs and kept my mouth shut. And of course, I never really got involved in anything either. But I've never really hidden anything, my personal world either, because there's nothing there. I don't understand why it's a big deal. So yeah, I pretty much just said what I thought and left it at that. So I thought what I'd do, and of course my mother always used to say, if you can't say something nice, don't say anything at all. And I think that's good advice, because also along with that, you need to say to yourself before you say something, does this need to be said? Because anytime you start ridiculing other people, or even if you're justified in pointing out their false weaknesses or stupid statements, you're opening yourself up to a world of garbage. So it's good advice. Not that that has anything to do with this, but there might be a few things I'm going to say here that tend to get close to that. So I'm going to start off by saying, if you go to Patreon tonight, that you don't have to pay to see this video. It's going to be on the main page. You can just go watch it. First off. Second off, when I started my Patreon account, it was a couple weeks ago, and the whole purpose behind it was twofold. Number one, this is going to be a long video, I don't mind. If you want to stop right now, stop the video and go get yourself something to drink and get prepared, because this is going to be a long one, guys, because I don't know how I can do it in a short period of time, and I'm going to upload this in the cheap, too. So if you got to be up your bonnet about, you got to put it on your TV screen, and it's got to be in whatever it is, high definition 4G or whatever they call it, I'm sorry, but telling me I need to get a new camera, or what did I film it with, a potato, I just don't care. So, because to address that too before I go on is, some of my videos are pretty cheesy because I'm out in the middle of nowhere. I don't have fiber optic cable. That's what happens when you're not living on the liberal East and West Coast. You don't have all this stuff, and that's fine, because I really don't want anything I didn't pay for. Okay, although technically this is what's stupid about socialism, is they take your money to pay for it, so you get nothing free. Just thought I'd throw that out. That's not what this is about either. Okay, I'll take back to the Patreon account. I started this a couple weeks ago, and I did it because when I started the YouTube account, it was because I was kind of restricted in what I could do because I had that back surgery. And I realized early on that I was getting revenue for it, could get revenue for it, and so I kept doing it. And I started to get some revenue, and it wasn't bad. And you have to remember what I'm doing and where I'm at. If you get $100 to $200 a month in revenue from ads, it was a big deal for us and our lifestyle here and what we were doing. That's a huge amount of money in our operation. Enough to cover not only having the horses' hooves trimmed, their entire feed bill for the year, and a vet bill. You see what I'm saying? And this is one of the things my wife and I had gone back and forth on my horses, and the drain on our on our place here. But so that was a big bonus when that was going on. And then of course I won't go through all the stuff that happened because we all know what happened. Yeah. And that kind of disappeared. So along with that though, right at the moment, and I don't think this is going to last long, but right at the moment, if you mind your P's and Q's and say what they want you to say, you can get one monetized and you can keep that going. Now, I don't think that's going to last long. I'd be surprised if there's any gun channels on YouTube at all by the end of the year. I think there's a big war coming here. And any rate, that's not what I'm talking about either, but I felt that maybe Patreon would be an avenue for me to go to. I could get that $100 to $200 a month out of providing the videos there if I had a following, and I knew it was going to take a long time to get to that level, but I thought that's worth a try because then I can say whatever I want in the video. Because I can't spend the time it takes to be a mind reader to figure out what needs to be said or can't be said to get my video monetized. And a good example is the one that went out this morning on that Galco light holster. That's not a new video. That's one I did years ago. And it was demonetized, so I downloaded it and I re-edited it until I got it to the point where they'd accept it. And for all I know, they could demonetize it tomorrow. We'll see. But if I have to put that kind of effort into it to make it work, I can't do that either because I got other responsibilities and things to do, you know. So that was the reason for that Patreon account, and I haven't even got to what I'm going to talk about, by the way. I just want to make that clear. That was the reason it happened a couple weeks ago. I started that, and the whole concept was maybe I could do the Patreon and get back to the level of income I was getting out of YouTube, and at the same time be able to actually say things like concealed carry, talk about a gun, and I think you know what I'm talking about. I won't go into in depth with that, but at the same time I could have enough money from it to buy a Vimeo account to put my videos on and pay to have them stored there and not be at the mercy of some millennial that decides they're going to delete all my videos, which, you know, they can do because it's their server and they're paying for it. Yeah. So, at any rate, that was the reasoning for all that. I know there's a lot of people that don't like Patreon accounts and bark about it, and a lot of the reasons they complain about it are valid because there's guys out there making a lot of money off of YouTube, even though they say we never made any money off the ads. We aren't making anything off the ads. Well, then when the ads got taken away, then they started screaming, oh, now we're not making any money, you know? These big channels. And I get it, you don't want to go to Patreon accounts. And I get it, you don't want to go to mine and pay in one of the three levels, $1 or $3 or $5. But I'd like to have a place to put my sock show that could be watched. That's why I'm putting the sock show on the main page. That may be negative for my getting Patreons. Having that on the front page, I don't know, but that's what I'm going to do. And I made one yesterday. And if you watch it, it's got some content, and I want to explain that. Because I was kind of in an odd mood because I just gotten off the phone with a nurse who was setting up a surgery for me, and hopefully they'll be able to get the entire tumor, and it won't be a problem, and hopefully there won't be anything in the lymph nodes, is what we're hoping. And I think I got a good shot at that because it's, you know, and I won't go into the whole details of the thing, but it's although it's the worst example of the tumor for that type of tumor, it is the only one, and I'm hoping that that'll be the outcome. And it won't be a big deal. But this, you know, tough night last night because prior to Obamacare, We had a good policy, one I'd had for most all my life with Blue Cross Blue Shield Minnesota, and they lost so much money due to the Obamacare rules of having to take pre-existing and so forth. And I think you know what I'm talking about too there, that they just quit selling policies to individuals. Just, that was it. So lost that insurance. So we had to find different policy, and frankly, the policies were, you know. And we decided, and this is our deal, that we would get a policy where basically you wouldn't pay anything at all till we got above 20 grand. And we decided to do that because we decided, well, you know, we could sell $20,000 worth of stuff if we had to, and it was worth the risk. And actually it was worth the risk because it saved us, you know, instead of paying $10,000 a year for insurance, we got it down to something we could afford. And it went a couple of years here, 2-3 years, however long it's been since that all happened. And it's worked out well, but we knew this day was going to come, which is why I've decided that if it's in the lymph nodes and they start talking about chemotherapy, I'm going to do what Dean Martin did. He refused any treatment, and he still lived 2 years. So, because I'm not going to leave my wife wiped out just so I can fill myself up with feeling lousy for 3 years instead of just feeling lousy for 2 years. Yeah, that's what I've decided. But at any rate, just wanted to explain that because it's not as dire as it sounds on that video. Not that it was really dire. But I think we're going to go in there and they'll cut it out and that'll be it. I'm hoping. We don't know. Nobody knows till you do it, and it's not as bad as it sounds, but there is a possibility. Yeah, it could go like anything else. You, for instance, could get up in the morning and walk out your door and get hit by a bus. It happens. I remember this clerk, this gal, and she went on vacation with her husband. They went down to Branson. This was back in the 90s, and she decided to run across the street to Walmart from the hotel and just got nailed. She walked right in front of a truck. That was it. You see, things like that happen. And let me tell you, MrHolster had like 9 times in his life, he should have been shot dead. 9 times in my life, I've squeaked through stuff. You see what I'm saying? That I came out totally unscathed, and it was just like, by the grace of God, that happened. So, yeah. Of course, I'm concerned with what happens to my horses. They find good homes, and my wife. But other than that, yeah, I have no complaints. So, wanted you to bring you up to speed on that and what that's all about. I just want you to know that if you watch that video tonight, that's not why I started a Patreon account. Okay? I just did that because I don't have the time to be a mind reader with YouTube and figure out what is brand safe and what isn't. Because frankly, the jokes I tell are back in the 60s, they wouldn't even be risque. Matter of fact, most of them are stolen from 60s television shows. But, you know, and it's not... If they demonetized or would not put ads on any of my videos, I'd be able to understand, well, it's all about being conservative or the guns or whatever, but it's not. It's just this random... And I don't know if they're just screwing with us, doing that just because it's fun to screw with us before they delete all our channels, or if they're seriously trying to come up with some standard. And I can really understand how frustrated people in Hollywood and television were with the old government censors. But in the defense of the government censors back then, they told them, no, you can't say that. You can't say this word, this word, this word, and this word. No, that joke's too suggestive. You see? They actually had somebody there telling them something. YouTube doesn't tell you anything. They're never going to tell you why it's not brand safe. Yeah. And so doing it, Yeah, they really don't do themselves any good because it doesn't progress anything or get anything the way they want it because nobody knows what the hell they want. There's a lot of people like me that would give them what they want if you knew. But I still want to be able to do the other videos they don't want. And it's gotten to the point where you're leery of doing that because you don't monetize it or they demonetize it. At some point, they're going to use that as a basis to just wipe you out, you see? That was the reason I thought, well, maybe I can go to Patreon and I can get a little support there and be able to get stuff on a server that's separate from YouTube, and I can say whatever I want without fear of Big Brother coming down on me. Yeah. You see, it used to be you were always worried about the government. No, what you're worried about now is these YouTube, Google. Yeah. All these private, and I hate to say the word business because it's bad business refusing money. Says I. So there you go with that. That's 16 minutes and 9 seconds of your life you'll never get back again. I had other things I was going to talk about, but at this point they elude me. I can't remember what they were because I was thinking about what to say while I was out feeding the cows. And I just thought I'd bring you up to snuff. I'd rather tell you what's going on in my life, upfront and honest. And, you know, if one day the videos stop, you know why. But very hopeful it won't turn out that way. Because that's all you got in this world is hope. So from MrHolster and Jack, who made it back, by the way. You see, if I would have just waited with the sock show, we could have filmed it. You all right, Jack? Oh, the poor guy's he's curled up and sleeping. Yeah, he's stuckered out, boy, and he got stories to tell. Thanks for tuning in, guys. From MrHolster and Jack, go out and stay safe. That's 17 minutes and 12 seconds of your life you'll never, ever, ever get back again. Yeah.